Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the retirement ceremony for Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle. I am Senior Master Sergeant James Ewing, and I will be the Master of Ceremonies for today's events. Throughout the ceremony, you will be given cues to rise and be seated at the appropriate times. During the national anthem, it is customary for our civilian guests to place their hands over their hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of the colors and the singing of the national anthem and the invocation. Thank you. And now for the invocation, Lieutenant Commander Gary Cragen.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we invoke your presence and blessings upon this retirement ceremony for Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle. We thank you, Father, for the 32 years of faithful service he has rendered in defense of our nation's freedoms. We thank you for his contributions to the great team that has kept our democracy safe and has provided liberty for many around the world. We ask your blessings upon him and his family for the sacrifices that they have made during these 32 years. May you guide Chief Master Sergeant Waddle in his well-deserved retirement, and may this ceremony be a celebration of a career well accomplished in your honor. We pray this in the name of our glorious Savior and Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain Cragen. Thank you to the 349th Air Mobility Wing Honor Guard. Today, the men and women of the United States Air Force Reserves, in keeping one of the oldest traditions in military service, pay special tribute to Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle on the occasion of his retirement from the United States Air Force. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the official party. Presiding official for today's ceremony, Lieutenant Junior Grade Elijah Waddle, Force Protection Officer, USS Gridley, accompanied by his wife, Bethany. Our honoree, Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle. Chief Master Sergeant Waddle is accompanied by his wife, Nona. His daughter, Hannah Studer. His father, James Waddle. His mother, Judy Ely, and her husband, Tom. We would also like to extend a warm welcome to additional guests for Chief Waddle, his brother Sean, his wife Maureen, their son Ryan, and daughter Michaela. His brother Craig, wife Susie, with children's Abby, Tucker, Jonathan, and Gracie Ann. His brother Kurt, I apologize. He wrote it in last minute. Also his cousin Jerry Hall and friend Edith, cousin Tammy, and her friend Russ. Additionally, we'd like to welcome our distinguished guest for today's ceremony, Major General Robert K. Millman, Jr., Mobilization Assistant to the Command Air Force Reserve. Colonel John Williams, Vice Commander, 349th Air Mobility Wing. Colonel Nancy Brooks, 349th Maintenance Mission Support Group Commander. Lieutenant Colonel Roger Law, Deputy Commander, 349th Maintenance Group. Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Niebor, Deputy Commander, 60th Maintenance Group. Chief Master Sergeant Sandra Santos, Command Chief, 349th Air Mobility Wing. And Chief Master Sergeant Michael Biondo, Group Superintendent, 60th Maintenance Group. I would also like to extend a welcome to all commanders, chiefs, and members of Travis community that Chief Master Sergeant Waddle has served with over the past 32 years. Thank you all for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to read some excerpts from Chief Master Sergeant Waddle's bio. Glasses on. Much better. Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle enlisted in the United States Air Force on 19 July 1980. Upon completion of basic training as an honor graduate at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, he reported to Shepherd Air Force Base for training as a C-5 aircraft maintenance specialist. After completing technical training, Chief Master Sergeant Waddle was assigned to the 945th Organizational Maintenance Squadron, Travis Air Force Base, California, as a C-5 crew chief. In 1988, he transferred to the 349th Logistics Group as a Quality Assurance Inspector. 3 years later, he moved to the 349th Aircraft Generation Squadron, where he served as Expediter, Production Superintendent, and Flight Chief. He was mobilized during Operations Desert Shield, Desert Storm, where he served as a Shift Chief of the C-5 Isochronicle Inspection Dock. Mobilized again after the events of September 11, 2001, Chief Master Sergeant Waddle served as Lead Line Chief and Superintendent of the Maintenance Operations Group, 60th Maintenance Group, until April of 2007, when he returned to the 349th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron as Flight Chief. In 2010, he was assigned to the 749th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron as a Reserve Superintendent. During his 32-year career, Chief Master Sergeant Waddle deployed to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Germany, Japan, and Moldova. He was involved in numerous relief operations to include the 1991 evacuation of the Clark Air Base, Philippines, and Subic Bay Navy Base for the Philippines following the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in 2005. Short notice launch of a mission to rescue trapped Russian submarine, and the 2011 relief efforts following the earthquake and tsunami in Japan. Chief Master Sergeant Waddle's awards include the 2005 and 2007 60th Air Mobility Wing Team of the Year, the 2004 60th MOS 60th MXG Senior NCO Knucklebuster of the Year, and he was 60th MXG Overall Knucklebuster of the Year. In 1999, Chief Master Sergeant Waddle was recognized as the Air Force Reserve Command General Lou Allen Award winner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the presiding officer for today's ceremony, Lieutenant Junior Grade Elijah Waddle.
Thank you, Major General Millman, distinguished visitors, family, friends. When my dad asked me to be the officiating officer at his retirement, I was extremely proud. One of the proudest moments of my life was at my commissioning when my dad and I took part in the ceremonial first salute. It was incredible to have him there to perform such a pivotal part of my commissioning ceremony. To have him make something official that I had worked so hard towards. I'd only worked towards that point for approximately 4 years, if you don't count the stuff I did in high school, which I don't, so. My dad's been working towards this point in his career for 32 years. So the opportunity to be part of his final salute is such an incredible honor for me. Just hope I don't lose it. He's gonna, so I'm good. Yep. I was always proud of my dad. Growing up, every son's hero is his father, and I was lucky enough to have a real hero, a member of the armed forces, as mine. When I was a child, I always knew that I wanted to grow up and be in the military like my dad. Even though he was in a reserve status for most of my youth, and his civilian job was managing a grocery store in Lakeport, the grocery store to me was just some place that my dad did stuff at. His real job was being a sergeant in the Air Force. Whenever anyone asked me what my dad did for a living, my answer was always, he's in the Air Force. He was always an inspiration and a role model for me. He taught me critical thinking, and he taught me ways to always strive to better myself and to never stop learning. In going through some of my dad's old evals, I came across several quotes that showed me how much he exemplified the life lessons that he taught me. One rater said, "Staff Sergeant Waddle takes initiative to increase his knowledge in all areas." This was more true than he knew. To this day, every time I go over to my parents' house, my dad is always working on some new way to increase his knowledge, whether it's going to school, working on his bachelor's degree, doing research online just to learn some new thing, or learning a new skill. He's never satisfied with his level of knowledge, and he always works to improve himself. Another individual wrote, "Staff Sergeant Waddle continually exhibits a willingness to assist fellow workers in solving complex technical problems." When I was young, my dad would take me to the air show and take me on tours of C-5s. I was always amazed at just how much he knew about those monstrous machines. He could spout off how many ping pong balls you could fit into one. Just random facts like that. You know, after reading some of his evals, I could tell that I wasn't the only one who was impressed with his level of knowledge and his technical expertise. Every time I came here with my dad, we would always, without fail, every single time, run into some officer who would tell me just how amazing my dad was and how valuable a member of the team he was and how much they depended on him. Just yesterday we were here and somebody said to me that they don't know what they're going to do when my dad's gone. He's the point of contact for everything. Colonel Rowland once wrote in one of my dad's evals, Senior Master Sergeant Waddle is a superb senior NCO who is recognized in the wing by active and reserve as the go-to individual for any maintenance situation. Now, I remember going on vacations, my dad getting phone calls on his electronic leash from someone here on base who had some emergency that they needed him to fix. You know, I was never upset that these people were calling and taking my dad away to solve these problems or these crises. I was always proud of my dad, and I was proud of how important he was to the people that he worked with. When you get one of those calls, I would always feel such pride that my dad was such an important person that they couldn't live without him for one day. Either that or he broke something or he made some computer program way too complicated so that nobody else could figure it out. So he was always trying to make things better. Good enough never was. My father gave me one of the greatest pieces of advice on how to succeed as an officer in the military. He taught me to trust and to listen to my senior NCOs and to take care of the personnel that are placed under my command. You know, that's the true measure of a leader. For a leader is nothing if he has no one who will follow him. Leadership is about inspiration. And my dad was overflowing with inspiration for everyone that he met. Dwight D. Eisenhower said, "Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it, not because you told him to." You know, my dad always made time for us, no matter how busy he was or how much his job demanded of him. He was always there for us. You know, growing up, when I was in high school, my parents were asked to chaperone for a school dance. Now, this dance just so happened to be the first dance that a boy had asked my younger sister to. So, needless to say, my dad was more than happy to volunteer. So, we show up to the dance, and about 20 minutes after the dance started, I see a bunch of people staring at the entrance to the gym where the dance is being held. So I'm like, okay, you know, I wonder what's going on. So I wander over there to see my dad walking in, straight from work, in his camis, carrying a big Maglite flashlight. You know, he then proceeded to actually chaperone the dance. The other chaperones were, you know, out on the dance floor, dancing, having a good time. My dad was walking around with the flashlight. All right, you guys are too close. Back it up. All right, that's my daughter. You better back up now. You know, my sister was mortified. I thought it was hilarious. Parental embarrassment instincts aside, he always made a point to be there for us when we were growing up. He's always had a commanding presence that was marked by a rare breed of confidence and strength. He commands respect and admiration in and out of uniform. He's taught me to go through life with that same confidence and conviction. Dad, I want you to know that the United States Armed Forces are losing an incredible man today. I hope and pray that the legacy that you leave behind and the people that you have trained and inspired in your career can come even slightly close to filling the void that you're leaving. You're a mentor, a leader, a teacher, an inspiration, and a friend. Not only to me, but to everyone that you come into contact with. Thank you for your selfless service to your country, this Air Force, and most importantly to your family. In closing, I want to leave you with the words of one of our greatest presidents, Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, handed on to them to do the same. We will always remember. We will always be proud. We will always be prepared. So we will always be free. Dad, I thank you for inspiring me, and I'm proud to take the torch. I'm proud to work towards defending the freedom that you worked so hard for 32 years to defend. I hope I can measure up to the standards and to the example that you have laid down before me. Thank you, Dad, for everything. I love you.
Thank you, Lieutenant J.G. Waddle. Wonderful remarks, beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as Lieutenant Junior Grade Waddle presents the Meritorious Service Medal to Chief Master Sergeant Kevin Waddle. Attention to order. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16, January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, 2nd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle. As an unparalleled squadron superintendent, Chief Master Sergeant Waddle displayed exceptional leadership skills, contributing immeasurably to the success of Team Travis. He was the catalyst for Travis KC-10s reaching over 31,000 flying hours in a 24-month period, a considerable amount above Air Mobility Command's standard requirements and an 11.5% annual sortie increase. Chief Waddle's incredible successful maintenance supervision directly contributed to 1,500 plus home station departures and an astounding worldwide departure rate of 4,309 sorties between 2010 and 2011. With wholehearted effort, Chief Waddle created a program that facilitated the ability to interpret and correct Air Force Fitness Management System software miscalculations. His efforts were instrumental in Team Travis maintaining and excelling at managing the immensity of the fitness program. The unrelenting focus of Chief Waddle on critical 349th Maintenance Group daily operations contributed to the 349th 60th Maintenance Group's capturing the coveted Maintenance Effectiveness Award for 2010. Finally, Chief Master Sergeant Waddle managerial skills resulted in the 749th 660th KC-10 squadrons being honored by receiving an outstanding for the 2011 compliance inspection. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Chief Waddle culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force, given under my hand, John C. Flournoy, Jr., General, United States Air Force Reserves, Commander, 349th Air Mobility Wing. Please remain standing as Lieutenant Junior Grade Waddle retires Chief Master Sergeant Waddle.
Publish the order.
Attention to order. Department of the Air Force, Washington, District of Columbia, Special Order Echo Kilo 2043, dated 24 January 2012. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle is retired from active duty effective 22 July 2012 after 32 years of faithful and honorable duty. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Lieutenant Waddle will now present the Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America, which reads, "To who all shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the 22nd day of July, 2012. Signed, Charles E. Stenner, Jr., Lieutenant General, United States Air Force, Chief of the Air Force Reserve, and Norton A. Schwartz, General, United States Air Force, Chief of Staff." Chief Waddle also received a certificate of appreciation and a personal letter from the President of the United States, as well as a letter of congratulations from the Governor of California, which will be available for viewing after the ceremony. Every retiree receives a special retirement pin as a memento of their service. Nona, will you please come forward and do the honor of placing the pin on Kevin's left lapel to symbolize his transition from active to retired status? Just punch it through. Just punch it through. No, she doesn't go nowhere yet. Nona, we would like to present you with the Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Air Force, which reads, "In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents the Certificate of Recognition to Nona Waddle for the commitments and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for your support, which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service, given this 21st day of July of 2012. Signed, Charles E. Stenner, Jr., Lieutenant General, United States Air Force Reserve, and Norton A. Schwartz, General, United States Air Force Chief of Staff." We would also like to recognize you with a Certificate of Appreciation from the 749th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, which reads, "Nona Waddle, you have earned the Air Force's appreciation for the unselfish, faithful, and devoted service you have provided to your husband over his military career. You have made possible his lasting contribution to this nation. Please accept this letter of appreciation on behalf of the men and women of the 749th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. Signed, Lieutenant Colonel David A. Emery, Commander, 749th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron." At this time, we'd like to give you a gift of flowers for your support throughout the years. You were supposed to give it to him. You were supposed to give it. He also has some flowers for his daughter, daughter-in-law, and mother. Not to be left out, he's given the coins to the men in his family as well as the women, the flowers to the women. Now you can. They don't like flowers. Are you sure? Chief Master Sergeant Waddle, a few more people would like to recognize you. First off, myself and Senior Master Sergeant Lamb. You can sit down now. Thank you, sir.
Realize that God never intended airplanes to have an odd number of engines and an even number of legs.
And the problem I'm having with all that is you fly, correct?
Yeah.
How many engines is your plane have? That's an odd number. That's an odd number, it is.
And also, Matt pointed out, if you, Chief, if you look closely in the fuselage, what do you see? That's the sack hatch. It's a real level. Just hang over.
Like you said, it's got 3 engines, not 4. And it doesn't have a detail, but it's a small engine from up to you.
Chief, and I'd also like to add on behalf of all the maintainers from 749. We'd like to thank you for giving us the support and great leadership. And we wish you and your family have an everlasting joy in your time.
the 349th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. Chief Master Sergeant White. And Senior Master Sergeant Nemo.
We step into the same boat.
All right. I know. I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk. I spoke all morning, so I'm going to make this really quick. First of all, Chief Pottsman, he retired this morning and he can't be here, so we're presenting this on his behalf. There's a portion in the Chief's creed that says that the Chief is not ashamed or afraid to stand up for the truth, even when unpopular. Anyone who knows Kevin knows that he's not afraid to tell you what he's thinking and what's on his mind. He's not afraid to tell you the truth. His delivery can be, you know where you stand. So what this says here, if you guys don't know, some of you do, but what this is an actual aircraft window.
Yeah, we give real aircraft parts. We don't give toys.
From real aircraft, by the way, too. And by the way, this is something that's highly coveted. We normally reserve these for members of the squadron, but Chief here was a longtime member of the squadron, and we found it very fitting to present this to him. And it states, as you gaze upon this window, think of its origins, where it has been, what it stands for, all the people in the world that it has helped. Remembering always that without your perseverance, dedication to duty, and progressivism, it would never have been possible. Your many accomplishments are the trust reflection of an impeccable career. From the men and women of the 349th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Travis Air Force Base, California.
From the 945th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, C-17s, Colonel Reichert, Chief Orfatelli, and Chief Crum.
Chief, it's a real honor to be able to present this to you. Chief and I have known each other since I got here, and he has been a mentor to me and really touched everybody. Now, I realize that the C-17 isn't the C-5. We have these strange things called winglets, but we really are the best squadron here at Travis. In any case, many of the folks that came to our squadron came from the C-5s. Many of those individuals you touched with the leadership, the technical knowledge, etc. And you're going to hear a lot more really great things, so I'm going to keep this really short. But really the best thing that I can say is that whether you're an officer, an enlisted person, or even a DoD civilian, when things get serious and things get critical, you want somebody there. It's not going to tell you what you want to hear. It's going to tell you what you need to hear to get the job done. You have done that throughout your entire career and have touched everybody in this room. I don't think any honor could be higher than the honor that says, I got to go to war. This is the gentleman I want standing next to me. All right. On behalf of all men and women, I have the honor to command the 945th 17 Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. We present to you a picture of a great airplane. Managed by some great people because of your greatness. Thank you very much, Chief.
From the 349th Maintenance Group, Lieutenant Colonel Roger Law.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Waddle. I'm the deputy here today, visiting family in the state. I really have two messages today. And the first one is to the family and the friends, and as well as the people that Chief Waddle has served in his leadership role. Kevin, at the point during his career, he served his nation when they needed him most. I mean, you can count the number of deployments he's been on, the efforts that our nation has gone to serve our warfighter and protect American interests. It's a huge effort. My second message is, today you witnessed the retirement of two chiefs, two very significant leaders and professionals, with Chief Waddle. My message is to the youth and those that are coming up through the ranks. What are you doing to prepare yourself as Chief Waddle? What are you doing to take the spot of the next Chief Waddle? Because there's still you will leave a significant void when he leaves. So your challenge is, how are you going to do that? So Chief Waddle, it's strange as you look in the audience, this is truly a joint effort. We had a lieutenant commander from the Navy chaplain. We had a lieutenant from the Navy, his son, be the MC. We have our reserve component. We have our active duty members, and really it's kind of a joint effort, which kind of correlates to what Kevin does throughout his career. He has the honor and privilege of wearing the uniform, and then like a few of you, he jumps into a telephone booth on Monday morning. He's given aircraft status and directing maintenance for our leadership. So very significant role that Kevin's done. He is part of a legacy. He's built this legacy. He has built this house of professional maintainers. Kevin has been truly on behalf of Colonel Gideon, the Navy Commander. I want to present you a very small token of our appreciation. But we appreciate you.
And now Colonel Niebuhr from the 60th Maintenance Group.
It's my honor today to present an award we call the Golden Hammer. The Golden Hammer is given by the 60th Maintenance Group Commander, Colonel Weber, to the very most professional folks that we have leaving. For those of you that may not be familiar with this award, just around to the left, I recommend you go take a look at it. His name will be added to a long list of names that have come before that have been recognized by his peers as exceptional leaders. Now, of course, because it's Kevin, this could never be a simple award. There was some controversy here because, see, the trick is, well, unfortunately for the 349th, he's leaving your family on Monday or maybe Tuesday. He's going to be at work for us again, just like he always has been, sitting in there, prompting people on what to say and pressing buttons on the slideshow monstrosity that is Waddle Vision. So we had to, how do we score this? How do we decide? And so we decided to just disqualify everything he's ever done as a civilian working for the 60s, because this is, after all, a 349th retirement. And then the trouble is, we're the active duty, so we have kind of short memories. So he stopped being mobilized in 2007. So 2007, that was like a whole 3-5 years ago. We weren't really sure about that. Fortunately, there are a couple of us that have left and come back. And so, for instance, I remember the time when we were both here, or when I was here before, and you were mobilized, and we had launched the last C5 from the ranch. There were no more C5s. There was some ghost town out there. We're all feeling pretty proud of ourselves here in the wings. And then all of a sudden, there's this little bing on the computer, and there's this new TACC mission that's come back. And we said, well, that's not fair. There's nothing else we can do. There's no airplanes out there. We called TACC, and they said, well, yeah, but there's another one coming in 2 hours, so we're giving you 2 hours to get this C5 back off the ground. And we just went, really? Oh, come on. Killing us. So we sat down, and I remember, how are we going to deal with this? We're just going to be turning these C5s, and came up with a plan to scan through GD1 and figure all this stuff out, and so we could be prepared when those airplanes land. And so that's just one of many experiences that we on the active duty side have had during the times when he was mobilized, going all the way back to. Not that you're old, Kevin, but yeah. All right. So on behalf of Colonel Weber and the 60th, we're proud to add your name to the long list of names there on the wall. Congratulations.
And now the Chiefs group, who would like to present the maintenance man.
This is going to take a little bit of time, but what I'd like to do is just have all the active, reserve, retired, anybody who's come on up here. Let's make this impressive, Kevin. While we're division going on. Come on up here. If you can make it up, please come up and
Nobody left in the crowd, Chief.
I know. It's a nice little group. You know what? When you come in the Air Force, a lot of times you get your retirement points. Sometimes you don't get an opportunity to retire when people just join you. So this is a rare opportunity, particularly when you're an active. You get an opportunity to actually retire with some of the folks that you have worked with throughout your career. And that's why I think it's important for us that we present this meeting together to have all of this up here. This maintenance man. All right. Kevin Locke was this. I'm going to tell you why this is one of the chemical awards that we give out to maintain. It's nice to see those airplanes flying. It is very nice to see, wow. Afghanistan surge, B-5 surge. But you know what? Behind all that, there's been somebody on that flight line. And the cold is the cold, and the hot is the hot. Putting skin and blood sometimes on those aircraft doing the maintenance that's required to make sure they're safe and alive. And this goes together because not only did he do that, but he also ensured that up and down the line, everyone who was doing that was remembered and taken care of. Someone calls and, hey, I need to get a heater up to my guys up at flight line. 30 degrees, he has to get that jet going. Kevin make sure that happens. So, from the chief up here, we present this to you. Again, that's the model. We love our team. The Chief Master Sergeant Kevin Waddle, July 1980 to July 2012. Thanks for all your hard work and unwavering dedication. 349 Unit Group Chief.
Put the shorter people in the front. I'm sorry. Okay, as tight as you can get. You are. I'm talking to Chief Summer. You work with me. Okay. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stay still. One more.
Kevin's running away.
And now we have a special presentation from a couple of chiefs. Chief Wooden, would you please come back up here? Chief Stout and Chief Morrissey would like to present you with something special.
Kevin, I'm not putting on the seat in case you can. I think everybody in the room understands that Kevin's a bleeding hot liberal. We were sitting around talking, we wanted to get Kevin something special for his wall. He's going to have all kinds of plaques and lovely stuff, but we really thought about it, and we came up with this. I knew this was there again. Air Force One. Yep. Commander Chief when he enlisted. Come on around.
Colonel Williams, Deputy Commander, 349th.
You know, I got the announcement for this retirement some months ago as a kind of a warm-up to make sure you clear the calendar. I didn't put it in my calendar because I figured this thing's got to go up the chain. Eventually, it's going to hit the Secretary of Defense, and there ain't no way he's going to approve this thing. So I'm very surprised to be here today. You know, we have a proud partnership here on the base with the active duty, and I think that it's something that goes beyond words, it's deeds, it's work, it's production, and I don't think it's anywhere more apparent than in maintenance, the partnership and how it works. The reality is, and I think everybody knows it, that without the strong enlisted 349th force that we have, there's a horrible grinding sound, and then all the wheels stop turning, and all those airplanes turn into very bad restaurants. It's very impressive what happens down here. I had a chance to see it when I had a short TDY working in the MXG. And at that time, what I noticed was whenever there was something going on, something heavy, the chief was right in the middle of it. And all of that service, all of that work, for you, it was never a 9-to-5 job. You had the sickness, and you were on it to get a task finished, to get it solved, to help the people to do the job. It's so important here in the 349. Now that you've come to the end of this career, and I know you know it's about service, it's about the people you served. You did it well. This wing is going to miss you. Thank you. I want to give you this coin from General Flournoy, the wing commander, would be here, but he had to go TDY, so he asked me to come and present it.
I am now going to read a letter from Major General Millman. Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle, Dear Chief Waddle, on the occasion of your retirement, the men and women of the Air Force Reserve Command join your family and friends in extending our sincere thanks for your 32 years of dedicated service to our nation. Retirement can be a time of mixed emotions, combining your accomplishments of a career with the challenges of a future. I am sure you will meet them with the same dedication and professionalism you have demonstrated throughout your military service. Your selfless service will be long remembered. As you depart from the Air Force Reserve Command, know that your exemplary dedication and commitment have earned you a place with the best of the best. I wish you continued happiness and success in the years to come. Sincerely, Robert K. Millman, Jr., Major General, U.S. Air Force Reserve, Mobilization Assistant to the Commander.
Team Travis, I will tell you, without a doubt, having spent the last 4.5 years at Air Mobility Command and just recently transferred back to the Air Force Reserve Command headquarters working with General Stenner and Chief Buckner, nobody does it better than Team Travis out there. Congratulations.
Yeah!
To make sure that we train the next generation of leaders. And I will tell you, when I look at the Waddle family here, and I look at this young man here, and those children there, they have done just that. You did a magnificent job. Congratulations. Choice of something that I wanted to do before I was put to execution. I'm sure I'd say something like, well, if I had one thing I'd like to do, it'd be to address the troops again so I can inspire them and motivate them. And Chief Waddle, as we've heard, speaks his mind. I know exactly what he would say when it came to his choice. He'd say, shoot me first because I've heard the captain speak. she could not be here today, but I heard all about Waddle Vision. I am well versed in Waddle Vision, having spent probably an hour listening to it. And I want to present to you her personal point, Command Chief One from the Airport Authority. And my boss, General Center, Commander of the Air Force Reserve Command, actually starts terminal leave tomorrow. So today is his last official day, so to speak, as the Commander of the Air Force Reserve Command. And Chief, I'll tell you, when I talked to him yesterday, he was very, very proud of you and what you have done and what you represent as the Chief Master Sergeant in our United States Air Force. And I'll tell you, I want to talk to you just a little bit. I understand what that young man went through because I've never had the honor of serving the stripes of the backbone of this force, but I did what I thought was the next best thing. I married the Chief's daughter. I remember being that young man, meeting the Chief as a young lieutenant, and I was scared to death. But on behalf of General Center, I want to present you his personal coin and heartfelt thanks on behalf of all.
Al, Master Sergeant Hockersmith, retired. Chief.
Kevin and I go back about 19 of his 32 years in the service. I must admit, I'm quite amazed walking in here today and seeing him in blues. Because anybody that knows Kevin, a maintainer of blues means one of two things: you're either trouble or you're dead. What you do? Kevin, it's been a pleasure working with you. We've done a lot of city high close doors through generations and what have you over the years. I know you're not sticking around here wearing cities during the week and stuff, so I'll be in touch. But Kevin asked me to build him a shadow box and stuff to accommodate his career, and it was an absolute pleasure to do that for him. So Kevin, on behalf of myself, the men and women of the 6349 Base Group, congratulations on your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Master of Ceremony, it is my duty and privilege to present Chief Master Sergeant Kevin M. Waddle, United States Air Force, retired. Floor is yours.
You think I need this?
Yes.
Nah. All right.
That's fine.
Chief McGee told me not to wing it, but to write something down. I don't do well with writing things down. So this is off the cuff and from the heart. First, I want to thank the people who put this together. So McGregor, where you at, John, JR, Jimmy, all the guys that worked hard to put this together. I appreciate you doing that. I want to thank everybody for coming out. You have no idea what this means to me. Some of you old retired dudes do know what this means to me, and it means a lot. I want to thank my family. I want to thank my beautiful daughter, my beautiful daughter-in-law. Son, I'm proud of you.
Especially for my labor.
Thank you for sticking by me all these years. You have no idea what my this was, Colonel, Chief, Colonel, Doctor.
Lieutenant Commander.
Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. I'm looking around here, Excuse me, I told you I was going to cry like a little girl. I don't agree with that. I'm looking at Larry Jackson, one of my first trainers. Michael Lightly and Larry took a somewhat rebellious, somewhat distracted young man and taught him the art of C5. I'm looking at Chief White, Mike White, who trained me to be a QA inspector. Looking at Eric, that mentored me in a lot of ways. And I'm going to forget some of you and I'm going to miss some of you, but I want you to know that it means something. All the people that are here, Chief Georgianowski, who trusted me enough to hire me as a chief in his squadron. We butted heads a couple of times in our meet because we both want to get the mission done. I'm going to make this very short because I want that air conditioning on, so bad you would not believe it. To the young people out there, you know what? I'm looking around, and that's the one thing about the reserves. There aren't a lot of young people. Not like the active duty, but there are some of you out there. 32 years goes like that. It was yesterday that I was asked to leave college, and my cousin Jerry took me down to a recruiter and said, I'm going to get you into the service before you end up getting in jail. And he took me down to this recruiter, Chuck Lutz. If those of you that know Chuck are probably as amazed as I am that he was a recruiter, because he's another one of those guys that tells you what he thinks. But that was yesterday. It wasn't 2 days ago that I was wiping your butt, son.
Now that's a picture.
I won't even mention your butt. I'm proud of both of you, and I want to say thank you to everybody who made it out today. I appreciate it, thank you. And I want to mention my grandkids. There's both of these young ladies, my daughter and my daughter-in-law, are due within the next week, and I'm just hoping that they will make it through the ceremony before they And that is all I have to say. Thank you very much.
more than 200 years, the American flag has been a symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence. And blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the Stars and Stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McKinley that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown into space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe, and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our U.S. Air Force, nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it live.
Sorry, got me too.
It is customary when an officer hits a commission that they pay a dollar for the first salute. I have silver dollars. Is that on my desk? In 2010, one of the proudest moments of my life was getting my son's dollar for his first salute. It is not tradition to pay for your last salute. I've never been very traditional. John, I want you to have this. It's 2012 dollar. In memory of my father.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our retirement ceremony for Chief Master Sergeant Waddle. Please join us in congratulating him and his family. We have refreshments and cake on the side, and you can view the... Good job. I'm done. Thank you very much for coming, all of you. Fire up the air conditioner.